但女孩的择偶要求究竟能有多苛刻？
这辈子就是纯属死在那种魅力深淫的男生。
But just how harsh can a girl's requirements for choosing a partner really be? She said in this life she would simply die for that type of boy with a charming voice. Then, if he could also dance with charisma, it would make people intoxicated by his voice. She said maybe this life she would die for that boy who could sing well. In her imagination, her boyfriend should be tall, handsome, able to play music, and able to dance. The boy in her heart must be one who can sing and dance, good-looking, rich, and a true Prince Charming. In her eyes, only someone as sweet and adorable as Song Yakswan could ever be worthy of her. And more importantly, under the influence of the so-called independent women ideology, she not only indulged herself in the dream world of being a fangirl without being able to extricate herself, but she had even developed feelings of disgust toward the majority of men. She said their clothing style was not very attractive. They looked somewhat sleazy, a little like an uncle type, yet they kept adding her as a contact. She just wanted to refuse. Looking back, she had countless suitors during her time at university. The girl fully understood the importance of economic strength. At the same time, under the impression created by capital and the internet, she came to believe that a good relationship should always begin with expensive gifts. Even when facing an ordinary boy who worked hard and was ambitious, she still demanded that only a boy who could buy her brand-name clothes had the right to pursue her. She said, "I think he should be able to buy me a set of brand-name clothes." In her eyes, this was only the most basic method to test the other person's capability. After all, now most little fairy girls are promoting the belief that if a man does not give expensive gifts, then it means he does not take the relationship seriously. This led her to believe that, at the age of 20, a boy should at least have 1 million yuan, about $137,000, in savings. A car worth less than 500,000 yuan, about $68,000, could not even be considered a luxury car. A bride price lower than 300,000 yuan, about $41,000, would make it absolutely impossible to marry her. But in reality, this entire set of requirements was precisely the key reason why so many women could not find a suitable partner and eventually suffered greatly. Some women, when choosing a spouse, were blind, using online high-quality lifestyle templates as their reference. They treated the luxurious scenes and refined lives on social media as the norm. From this, they set unrealistic demands for their real-life partners. They believed that as long as they had met a tall, rich, and handsome man once, it meant that all other men were unworthy of them. And moreover, when faced with the choice between a boyfriend and an idol, they would, without hesitation, always choose the idol. If your future boyfriend asked you to choose between him and your idol, and told you not to be a fan anymore, what would you do? She said, "Oh, that's such a headache of a question. Of course I'd choose my idol." In truth, for her, even if she already had a boyfriend, the other half in her heart would forever be a traffic flow celebrity. She even declared she could live without marriage or children as her way of making a fangirl statement. Because in her eyes, men nowadays were simply too unreliable, clearly very ordinary, yet they still fantasized about winning the favor of little fairy girls. She said, "In my view, some guys aren't even reliable. Idols are more reliable than them." Now, girls have long since awakened into feminism. They take traffic flow celebrities as their standards for choosing a partner. On top of the demands for material wealth, clothing style has also become a crucial factor. After all of her dozens of ex-boyfriends in the past were stylish, handsome fashion guys. She said, "Appearance and clothing style are something I care about in secret. For outfits, well, I think you dress quite trendy. You're just as fashionable as I am." The girl kept raising harsher and harsher requirements for her other half. Yet, as for herself, she now only had a junior college diploma and no job. But regarding this reality, instead of feeling ashamed, she showed extreme pride. She kept exclaiming, "That male star is so handsome! This boy sings so well! Wow, this boy's singing is amazing! This boy's dancing is so cool! This boy! Isn't this exactly the way today's girls are?" Hearing this, the boys who came to meet her on blind dates could no longer endure it. They saw her waving the banners of feminism and independence, Tom and Arawis Frash, while promoting these utterly absurd mate selection standards. So they used work as an excuse to prepare to leave. But unexpectedly, the girl suddenly changed her arrogant attitude. Not only did she actively add the boy's contact information, but she even begged him to have dinner together. She asked, "Are you willing to have dinner with me?" Oh, so it turned out the girl no longer had money to eat. But when faced with her enthusiastic invitation, the boy still resolutely turned around and left. Seemingly at ease, the girl once again criticized him for not being responsible. But in reality, it was precisely this seemingly reasonable but distorted mindset of hers that was the fundamental problem. A correct perspective on choosing a partner should be built upon equality and pragmatism, not on material things, appearances, or unrealistic ideals as the sole standards.
所有未婚的男同胞们，你们的春天来了。从2022
All unmarried male fellows, your springtime has arrived. Starting from 2025, you really don't need to have any more age anxiety or worries about being single. You must know that in first, second, and third-tier cities, the number of unmarried women over the age of 30 is 3.6 times greater than the number of unmarried men over 30. What does this mean? It means the male-to-female ratio is 1 to 4. To put it plainly, one man can reverse select from among 4 women, and each one of them is fair-skinned, beautiful, long-legged, with cars, houses, and high salaries quality women. More importantly, a considerable portion of them are native residents of these big cities. Do you know what it means to marry a native resident? It means that after marrying her, you won't need to worry about anything. Your social class will instantly rise. Do you feel like, oh, with my looks, earning only 5,000 yuan a month, who would ever like me? Here, let me show you a video, so you can understand what the real world is actually like. Open your eyes wide and watch carefully. Finished watching? Do you suddenly feel confident again? Then hurry up and take action. Truly, your springtime is really about to arrive.
主动问你要钱的女人都是垃圾，没有例外，都不开玩笑，所以不要主动大。
Any woman who proactively asks you for money is trash. No exceptions. I am not joking. So do not voluntarily and generously spend money on women. That is 100% wrong. Do not use money to please any woman. That is the behavior of a low-level bootlicker man. No matter how wealthy you are, a truly good woman, a capable woman, a woman with status, does not need your money, and you don't need to constantly guess a woman's emotions. If you can get along, then do so. If not, just walk away.
自己都养不活的姑娘真不能要。昨天一男粉丝跟我诉苦，说他女朋友都不上班。
A girl who cannot even support herself is truly not someone you should want. Yesterday, a male fan came to me to complain. He said his girlfriend has not gone to work for half a year, living entirely off the 8,000 yuan he gives her every month. After hearing that, I was both angry and heartbroken. And the result? She even quit her job and now stays home every day playing video games. Over the years, working as a matchmaker, I have seen too many painful lessons like this. At first, it was just helping her pay the rent. Later, it became a fixed monthly allowance. Eventually, he even had to support her entire family. What is most terrifying? These kinds of girls are often especially good at acting cute. They say things like, "Hubby, you're the best. Do you really have the heart to see me suffer?" Remember these points. First, true love is about 2 people striving toward each other, not one-sided giving. Second, independence is the bottom line. If a woman is already 25 and still relying on a man to raise her, there is an 80% chance she will stay that way for life. Third, the more money you give her, the more she will spend, and in the end, you won't even be able to shake her off. There is one iron law. A girl who is willing to save money for you may not necessarily love you, but a girl who always spends your money definitely does not love you. Do you have these vampire-style relationships around you? Write in the comments and remind your brothers.
你说你现在挣点钱就给女朋友花，有时间就陪她出去玩买。
You say now that whenever you earn some money, you spend it all on your girlfriend. Whenever you have time, you take her out to play, fulfilling all her wishes. But when it comes to yourself, you are stingy? giving up on self-improvement and growth. When the day truly comes for you to marry, you will not be able to afford a car, you will not be able to afford a house, you might not even be able to bring out the bride price. And by then, your girlfriend may very well have become someone else's wife. What I am saying is not alarmist talk. This is the naked reality. You must understand, if a woman really wants to marry you, she will not simply let you spend money. She will definitely tell you to save it. If she wants to have a future with you, she will certainly think for your sake and will not recklessly spend your money. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us.
你知道为什么很多男人他赚钱后的第一件事就是干掉原配？
Do you know why so many men, the very first thing they do after making money is to get rid of their original wife? At this point, surely there will be women who say, "This man is just scum. He is ungrateful." But let me tell you, when you yourself have money, you may not necessarily be such a good person either. It's only that you don't have it. You say that men become bad once they have money, but in fact, that is not the case. Let me explain. If what you want is a material foundation, then from the very beginning, you should find someone who already has a material foundation. Don't look down on him because his conditions are not good. Marry him anyway, and then, in the days that follow, endlessly mock and belittle him. I'm telling you, men hold grudges for 10 years, even 8 years. Every heavy blow and every eye roll you gave him, he remembers while enduring hardship in silence. He may not say anything, he may even continue treating you well, but that seed of hatred you planted in him has already taken root. In his heart, he is holding on to that resentment. He thinks to himself, one day when I rise up, one day when I have money, the very first thing I will do is to get rid of you. So, many women who do not understand men's nature will find it very difficult to manage a relationship. For example, before you even marry, because of bride price and all kinds of messy issues, you end up fighting bitterly with the man's family, and yet, you still go ahead and marry him. At that moment, the seed of resentment has already been planted. Such women are the most foolish. Either, from the very beginning, you should not provoke that evil, hateful part of him. If you decide to marry, then marry straightforwardly. Or, if you cannot, then stand firm and refuse to marry. The worst situation is when both people, or both families, fight and disgrace themselves terribly, yet in the end, you still cannot leave him, and you still marry him. Women like this, in marriage, almost always end up with very bad outcomes.
家人们，你们知道要高价彩礼的到底是什么人吗？今天呢，咱们来说。
Family, do you know what kind of people are the ones who demand a high bride price? Today, let's talk about this. What kind of families are these exactly? Let me tell you. They are definitely not those reasonable and understanding families, nor are they reasonable and understanding people. Why is that? Because for them to dare to open their mouths and demand a high bride price, and especially since the bride price is asked from the other side, most of the time it is from those normal, ordinary families who are just living their lives. To speak frankly, these kinds of families don't really have much in savings at all. What they want is simply to take advantage of honest people, to cut into honest families for a sum. But if such people encounter the rich, if they come across wealthy families, they would absolutely never dare to ask for a high bride price. To put it plainly, what does this mean? Actually, deep down in their hearts, they are as clear as a mirror. They know very well that rich people are not lacking in brides. Right, family? They cannot manipulate the rich. They would never dare expose their greedy faces in front of wealthy people. So, in the final analysis, what does it mean? Those who demand a high bride price? It is nothing more than poor people making things difficult for other poor people. Isn't that the very essence of it? Family, do you agree?
最近一粉丝给我发一视频还挺有意思的，怕被禁我就不放了。
Recently, a fan sent me a video and it was quite interesting. I won't play it here because I'm afraid it might get banned, so I'll just roughly describe it. It was about an older leftover woman complaining about men. The ridiculous part is that she herself is almost 40, yet she calls her blind date partners old geezers. She even said she has collected a lot of old geezers. She claimed that these men are already incapable of love, that they are greasy, that they lack the energy of young people, that they only brag and boast, but when it comes to real money, they are finished. She said they are all especially stingy, end quote, that the blind date places were not fancy restaurants. She also said the more developed the region, the more beautiful the women, but the later they marry. Because, she claimed, there are too few good men. So, she said you have to pick carefully. But wait a minute, too few good men? Isn't that a bit contradictory? Shouldn't you say too few good old geezers? Ha ha ha! You call men old geezers. Then what does that make you? Relying on makeup and filters to cover up that old weathered face of yours? Those so-called old geezers you mock. Hey, aren't you just like an old witch painting her skin to find confidence? What do you mean by greasy? If men put on makeup and beauty filters, would they no longer be greasy? A person's true value lies in self-awareness. Self-awareness equals dignity. At whatever age, one should do things fitting for that age. You treat cosmetics like your second life. But once you wash off your makeup, with that face of yours, even if it's not oily, it would still drive men away. At home you ask your father for money. Outside you ask men for money. Where does a man's money come from? It's earned through hard, bitter work. Men are not born as suckers to support you, nor do they have the time for pampering and skincare. Let me tell you, men are not without energy, nor are they without passion. It's simply that they cannot feel passion for you. That face of yours looks like the paint is peeling off a wall. Do you not have any self-awareness? There's a saying, when a woman cries, a man's heart breaks. But with you, do you dare to cry? If you did, that face of yours would collapse into mud. Step outside, let the wind blow, and it would harden like plaster. From a distance, it would look like your face was splattered with bird droppings. Up close, it would scare people like a female ghost. Sure, men might like ghosts, like the beautiful ghost Shao Qian. But have you ever seen anyone feel passion for the Black Mountain Demon? Ha ha ha. You say blind dates are difficult because men are stingy. But if you are not stingy, why don't you pay the bill yourself? Who owes you anything? Not every man is your father. Men have no obligation to provide for you. You eat men's food, drink men's drinks, and then scold men for being stingy. Did you go on a blind date or to satisfy your cravings? How did a blind date turn you into a scammer-like figure? Don't you feel ashamed yourself? Is your family so poor that you can't eat good food at home, so you rely on red envelopes, food delivery, and blind dates just to improve your diet? And yet you still say you want to pick carefully when looking for a man. But tell me, who is really picking whom? Aren't you just one of those who were left behind after others picked? For any product, the better the quality, the faster it gets chosen. If a whole basket of peaches is left unsold, then it must be because others already picked out the good ones. The ones left are nearly rotten, and no one wants them. As time passes, they only rot further, until in the end, no one wants them at all. You want a high price? Fine. But the key question is, are you worth it? Is a fresh peach the same price as a rotten one? A street vendor selling shoes polishes up a pair of broken shoes with some grease, trying to trick a fool. But in reality, the shoes stink inside. The soles are black and worn out, yet they pretend it's a new pair. Someone asks, "Will you sell it for 30?" And you open your mouth and say, 30,000. So the person goes silent. Let me tell you, a man's silence is not because he cannot afford it, but because he sighs at how crazy you are for money. Even 30 wouldn't cure your disease. Yet you dare to open your mouth and ask for 30,000. How can there be such shameless people in the world? Looking for fools. Not even admitting you're looking for fools. You sugarcoat it by saying, "I just want to find a good man." All day long you say, "This man is poor, that man is stingy." You already know they are poor, yet you still beg them for money, beg them for meals. Let's be clear. What you lack is what you crave. What you don't have is what you long for. A rich girl asks her father for money. A capable, outstanding woman earns money on her own. Only those with nothing, those from families so poor they have nothing left to their names, are the ones who come out every day, desperately wanting to find a man to get money from, to change their lives. Because they are the hope of their entire family. I believe these kinds of people deep down in their bones, are not really looking for someone to marry. They are just looking for a man to exploit. If they can't exploit a man, they run online to curse and attack men, because what they want is not truly a marriage partner. If you have money, they treat it like a job interview. If you don't, they treat you like a fool to be milked. What they want is a long-term, stable, cost-free, never-expiring ATM. Their biggest dream is to just lie down in bed and be showered with gold. And their only asset? Makeup and beauty filters. They place extreme importance on their looks, but their greed outweighs their ability. Their ignorance outweighs their charm. With their own qualities, they cannot attract any decent man. They only attract flies. Unable to earn money through their own abilities to satisfy their desires, they resort to exchanging beauty for money. But beauty is fleeting and depends on others. And those they attract in the end are only perverts. So, where are the good men? Now, you can't attract good men. Even perverts won't marry you. Because such women, once they wash off their makeup, have nothing at all. A pair of broken shoes, no matter how well packaged, will always remain broken shoes. Some say men always tell women to lower their standards. But actually, what men hope for is that you improve yourselves so that your value matches your demands. If you're still watching, comment 1 so I know you're still with me.
那95后跟00后该啷个选？不需要我多说了噻。
你确定考虑好了吗？这个女生条件挺。
So between post -95 seconds and post -0 seconds, which should you choose? I don't need to say more, right? Are you sure you've thought it through? This girl's conditions are quite good, you know. She has a house and a car, a job in a public institution, and her parents have pensions. The key is, she also wants to get married early, and she's very serious about you. Didn't you say you were in a hurry to get married? Your hometown is Q County. You went to college out of town. After graduation, you worked for years at a big company locally. We really did earn quite a bit. After saving enough money, you returned to the main city to buy a home and settle down. You joined a state-owned enterprise, making $300,000 a year. Although life carries no financial pressure, your lifelong matter of marriage has ultimately been delayed, hasn't it? Your family is also anxious. Look, the two of you, whether in education, job, income, or experience, are very similar. You're a great match. At the beginning, the arrangement was made with marriage in mind. I felt your ages matched. Your conditions were comparable, and both sides were sincerely approaching the relationship to bring it to a close. But after a month of closing it out, I realized it still wasn't suitable. I wanted to tell you early and make it clear, so as not to waste the other person's time later. Why do you feel it's unsuitable? Do you think she's a bit too old? But she's 3 to 4 years younger than you. And that post-00 might be too young. You might not even be able to talk easily, right? At first, I thought so too. But later, our company had a new post-00 intern join us, and he kept pursuing me. At the beginning, I didn't even register it. I just thought, young people, you know, more energy, enthusiastic, and cheerful. Later, when I realized he felt differently about me, I did refuse him. After all, there's a 7 or 8 year age gap, and I am aiming straight for marriage. So I don't want to waste time on people unrelated to that goal. But he told me he was also dating with marriage in mind. Post-0 seconds aren't that young anymore. Date for a year 26. Another year of just the two of us 27. Then, pregnancy at 28 just in time to have a child before 30. Born in the year of the little dragon. He said he really wants to marry early. So let's seize the time to be together, learn more about each other's personalities and worldviews, interests and hobbies and so on, and see early whether we can mesh well together. Seriously, even the post-00 girl feels she's not young anymore, while the post-95 is still saying she's not in a hurry. That's the difference. Of course, age isn't the most important thing. What matters is that the younger girl can give me the sense of belonging I want. What sense of belonging? Because my hometown is Ku County, and I rarely came to the central city. I went to university in Beijing, stayed there more than a dozen years, and only came back not long ago. I say I'm a Chongqing person, but I'm not familiar with Chongqing at all. That post-95 girl, though not aloof and willing to respond to me, always had me pick the places for dates and meals. She just passively accepted arrangements. Every time she said, anything is fine. But once I decided, she would say, not that either. I'm already unfamiliar with the place, and she kept negating me. Of course I felt a bit upset, but the post-00 girl was different. After work, she took me to those delicious little fly restaurants, beloved hole-in-the-wall eateries, took me to get familiar with Chongqing's many big and small scenic spots, took me to see her university, and took me along to gatherings with her college classmates. What to eat, where to hang out. She arranged everything clearly and considerately. I felt that in Chongqing, I wasn't alone anymore. But Sister Wrong, if it were you, which would you choose? Even if she doesn't have a house or a car, if her conditions are average, I don't mind. I've got those anyway. As long as life can be lived well, then being relaxed and happy is more important, right? All right then. Please help me apologize to the other girl for the trouble. I just don't want to proceed anymore. Okay, I'll be on my way then. Sigh. So, do you now understand why it's still not easy for older women to find partners, even when their conditions are excellent? First, quality men really are few. When you meet one, various reasons can delay things, and it's truly not easy. Second, other girls act too fast. As soon as a man appears with slightly better conditions, you don't even know how many women are watching him. It's really quick hands have, slow hands have not. So, are you still going to keep being reserved?
已经财富自由的漂亮大姐第一次相亲，就直接把大哥邀请进了自己的家里。
A beautiful older lady who has already achieved financial freedom went on her first blind date and directly invited the gentleman to her home. She simply made him 6 dishes and 1 soup, and the gentleman was instantly won over by her. Zing him so happy, she was overjoyed too. To capture his heart, she turned around, went back into the room, and brought out the gift she had bought for him. When the gentleman saw how warm-hearted she was, buying him a cozy scarf in the dead of winter, he was deeply moved. How do you feel? Warm, especially warm. That's all that matters. Ha ha ha, isn't your heart blooming with joy? Of course my heart is elated. Hearing that he loved her gift, she was thrilled. But then she remembered that his requirement for a partner was to find someone with a retirement pension, and she herself had no pension. So, she proactively brought up this shortcoming and asked whether he could accept it. Hearing this, the gentleman's face instantly changed. I won't even mention certain other things, but this point I really don't quite like it. Seeing his displeasure, she panicked, not knowing how to win back his heart. This very considerate lady is named Sister Lu. At 55 years old, she has no burdens at all, because in her younger years, she started a business with her ex-husband. She not only has a good amount of savings, but also has rental income from land back in her hometown. You could say Sister Lu is very well off. However, though life was affluent, her ex-husband passed away from illness 5 years ago. Now her 2 daughters are grown and have their own families. Although Sister Lu spends her days doing handcrafts and caring for plants to pass the time, as she gets older, she also feels the loneliness. So, she began paying attention to a blind date television program and soon set her sights on a 62-year-old gentleman on the show, Brother Zhang. She felt Brother Zhang was clean, tidy, and spirited, so she signed up for the show, hoping to talk with him. After the show received her application and learned that she liked Brother Zhang, the crew found Brother Zhang and told him about her situation. Upon hearing that Sister Lu liked him, he immediately agreed to meet. Learning he was willing to meet her, she was overjoyed, went shopping at once, and bought him a scarf. The next morning she got up early to prepare lunch. The gentleman was also very considerate. He got up early, went to the supermarket, bought apples and tangerines, and then arrived at her home with the matchmaker. Seeing him arrive, she warmly invited him in and thoughtfully prepared men's slippers. After they greeted each other, her impression of him was very good. Don't talk about it just from chatting. I'm quite satisfied. She thought he would feel the same, but he felt she looked a bit old. Is she a bit older? She's from 1970. Isn't this year 94? 54? You're 6 this year? I'm 61, born in 60. You two are about evenly matched in age, right? So you still think she's a bit old? Although he thought her appearance seemed a little older, he decided to get to know her more. Because she was braising meat, the aroma drifted out. He smelled the fragrance. Seeing this, she led him into the kitchen. With her attentiveness and obviously excellent cooking skills, he instantly had a very good impression of her. Great, she's a good person, really great. Since the braised dish needed more time, they sat on the sofa and chatted. He first talked about himself. Although his monthly pension is just over 3,000, he's found another job. That brings in another 3,000 plus per month. His son is already married, so he has no burdens. After he finished, she introduced herself. When he heard she had no pension, his face changed immediately. She panicked and hurried to explain that her interest income from savings, plus the yearly income from land rentals, were enough to let her live very comfortably. Hearing this, he finally set aside his concerns. Soon, the braised dish was done. Seeing the 6 dishes and 1 soup she had prepared for him, his affection doubled. He felt her cooking was truly excellent. Great, very good. At the very least she can cook, that's enough. That's quite good. How many women nowadays can actually cook? So the two of them chatted and laughed at the table. She took out the scarf and gave it to him, which moved him deeply. He felt she genuinely liked him and decided to seriously pursue a relationship with her. He confessed to her on the spot. You must treat her well. The main thing is that life is hard for one person. For 2 people, the most important thing is mood, right? Right. Take care of each other. Hearing his confession, it was no surprise that she was also willing to give it a try with him. Thus, their blind date was a success. If, during a blind date, there can be little surprises or sincere gestuures, the other person will definitely feel it, and blind dates will be easier to succeed. Many men go to blind dates and repeatedly hit walls. Some have even gone on more than a dozen blind dates without success. It really isn't because your conditions are bad. It's because you don't know that blind dating also requires skill. First point, appearance. Here, appearance doesn't mean you have to be very handsome, and quote, or that you must be fashionable or know how to dress. It means you need to learn how to groom yourself. At the very least, make yourself look clean, look fresh. Some of my male members, they don't even wash their hair, show up with a messy chicken nest head, wearing slippers to a blind date. Every time I saw him, I would earnestly persuade him, why not make a little change? He said, it doesn't matter. As long as the girl is satisfied with my conditions, that's enough. Looks aren't important for men. I'm showing my true self. I want them to like the most real me. All right then, let's be real. And the result? Repeated defeats. Every time he meets, the girl doesn't say a word. So do you still want to be real? Although in the blind date market, conditions are important, after the conditions are checked off, what matters at the meeting is appearance. In the market, most women are stricter than men. Otherwise, they would have already married early. The average-looking men with good conditions, that their families introduced to them when they were younger. And whenever I live stream, I always tell everyone, men, tidy yourselves up a bit. After you change your appearance, you'll see just how proactive women can be. Second point, pacing. Let me tell you about something recent. I had a male member. On the first day of knowing a female member, he invited her out for hot pot. During the meal, he deliberately brushed her hand. After dinner, when saying goodbye at the corner, he pulled out a hotel room card and said, "Don't leave tonight, come back with me." He scared the girl away instantly. On her way home, he even messaged her, "Split the dinner bill with me." Later, the woman didn't come to me. He did. Complaining, "The girl you introduced to me just wanted to freeload. She was too fake. Don't ever introduce me to women like that again." I was dumbfounded. "You two just met today? How is that freeloading?" After asking around, I understood. So I asked him, "You just met her for the first day and already wanted to take her to a hotel? Are you looking for a mother of your child? Or are you just trying to satisfy your needs?" He even argued back. "Didn't you say not to drag things out on blind dates? Well, now it's my fault. Yes, I did say that. But how did you twist it into the breaded, take the girl to a hotel the first time you meet? Think about it another way. If the girl really agreed, would you dare to marry such a woman? So, during blind dates, you must manage the pace well. Don't apply some formula, don't rush to confirm the relationship immediately, and don't drag things on for too long either. Both are wrong. Third point, giving. Some men with little dating experience end up giving one-sidedly from the start. They cover almost all expenses of the date. This is definitely unhealthy. Some men who have gone on too many blind dates may have become smart. They hope to find someone who will split everything 50-50. But over-pursuing absolute equality is also unlikely to succeed. The healthy state is, if both can reach about a 70-30 balance, that's already good enough. I have always strongly opposed one-sided giving. Giving must be two-way. Both must find a balance point with give and take. Only then can it last. Today, China is facing alarming numbers. According to official statistics, the marriage rate has dropped to the lowest level in 40 years, with fewer than 6.8 million couples registering for marriage in 2022, a decline of more than 50% compared to a decade ago. At the same time, the birth rate has fallen sharply, causing China's population to shrink for the first time in more than 60 years. These figures clearly reflect a crisis of confidence in marriage and family among the younger generation. In light of this situation, China's social trends would like to send this message. A society can only develop sustainably by returning to its traditional values where family is the foundation, the source of emotional support, and the backbone of the nation. Only by cherishing the family, respecting responsibility, and honoring love and loyalty can people find true happiness. And this is exactly what China's social trends strives to emphasize in every video. Oh, so what do you think? Should young people today keep pursuing personal freedom, or should they return to marriage and family as a core value? This is surely a controversial question. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss future videos. Thank you so much for watching. See you again in the next video.